Welcome everyone to the Chris Perish podcast. My name is Chris Perish. This is episode 25. That's right, in Roman numerals, it's the XXV. And we're here with another great episode of the Chris Perish podcast. And we couldn't do it without the beautiful partners that we have over to this side of me, because it's my left, you're right, but it's Turnbuckle Studios, where every Monday you can catch the Raw Patrol surveilling the scenes of WWE with the Raw Watch Along that starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, live on their Twitch and YouTube channel, followed by Turnbuckle Talk over on Tuesdays with hosts Carl Carafel and Chris Best, and sometimes joined by OMD at 8:05. Also, thank our beautiful sponsors over to my other side, which is my right, your left, Rogue Energy, where you can go to rogueenergy.com and pick up all your plethora of flavors, including their new strawberry banana. But make sure that you use the code PERISH, PERISH, at the checkout to save yourself a little bit of 10%. And the jokes required, but it also helps me pay for diapers. It's nice. I appreciate it. Thank you. We have a great show, but first we have an announcement to make. I see that we have people in the chat, which is awesome. If you're here watching the show, get in the chat, be active, be respectful, but let's have fun. That's what this show is all about. We got Chris Best coming in saying, "Good afternoon, Mr. Perish." Ooh, I'm a sir now. Got you on while I limp my way around the kitchen making some oatmeal. What kind of oatmeal? I myself, I like the apple cinnamon. Kind of my favorite. But yeah. But I'm glad that you're watching the show. Glad that you're supporting the show. I appreciate you. You know I always do. But hopefully you limp around, but you do it all for the nookie. He is making apple cinnamon, inspired by my flavor already. I see what you're doing. But yeah, I got a couple of announcements. As if you live in the Edmonton region and you were part of Real Canadian Wrestling, the show last night, Clash of the Titans, you would have seen something for the first time since December 2022, and that was Chris Perish inside a wrestling ring. That's right, I made my return to the Edmonton pro wrestling scene last night as I helped my good old buddy, basically like a little brother to me, son of Irish. As I saw him lose in the opening counter, and I'm like, something's up with you, man. What's going on? And then I saw him attack Cody Mack, one of their Alberta Heritage champions. And he was going for the kill. So I had to remind him, no, you go for the title. I'll go for the kill. So yeah, that's the thing. Another announcement, as we have first time chatter, the Worst Sports Channel saying, "What's up, King?" Out here like Gunther. Appreciate that, and that's part of the announcement, because next week, the Worst Sports Channel's own Jack Lucerne will be appearing on the Chris Perish podcast next Sunday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, live on my Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Chris Perish Podcast, episode 28. Jack Lucerne will be here. And on the Saturday, June 1st, the Loose Goose, as he wants to be called. That sucks. We'll find out. I'll let that be your opinion after you check out episode 26 of the Chris Perish Podcast. But in a nice little trade-off, it's one of those, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of a deal. Yes, I will be appearing on the Worst Sports Channel on the Saturday. And if I'm not mistaken, then correct me in the chat, but I think it's 10 p.m. Eastern, live on all of their platforms. So go check out the Worst Sports Channel and come check me out on the Worst Sports Channel on Saturday. But check out Jack Lucerne on the Chris Perish podcast next Sunday. Fellow Canadians, so we're gonna have fun. But yeah. But as you saw in my reference, Gunther, King, why? Oh, that's because if you're living under Dwayne Johnson, you will find out that yesterday Saudi Arabia took counter of the King and Queen of the Ring, the first ever Queen of the Ring, because as you might remember, Zelina Vega won the Queen's crown. So we saw history last night. And what better history than with all this beautiful stories about the Bloodline 2.0. We have a Samoan in Nia Jax winning the first ever Queen of the Ring in what was an amazing finish. The Annihilator from the top rope onto Lyra Valkyria. What a finish. I thought that was fantastic. What a great way to kind of just solidify Nia as a dominant force, that irresistible force, that is. And yeah, obviously everybody knows I'm a Lyra fan. So I was a little bit brokenhearted, but at the same time, Nia, huge supporter, and I'm very happy that you won. So it's going to be Nia Jax penciled into the SummerSlam. As Bret Hart would say, the SummerSlam against potentially Bayley for the women's world title. And then over on the men's side, Gunther, in a controversial fashion, defeated Randy Orton to become King of the Ring, penciling his SummerSlam championship match, where we do not know who is going to be the champion, because we also now found out that at Clash at the Castle, live from Glasgow, Scotland, we will see Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So, winner, whoever comes out of that match, you have a huge mountain to climb, because you're going to go up with the Ring General, Gunther. Controversial, though. And I say that controversial because a roll-up countered. However, it appeared that Randy Orton's shoulder was up, and Triple H had comments about that after the PLE, as Byron Saxton questioned him on it, and he flat out said, look, the referee's decision is final. From my vantage point, it looked like it was down, but then I come to the back, and then I see everything else. I saw what everyone else saw. And he knows that Gunther has pride. He doesn't want to win with an asterisk on that. He knows Randy Orton is going to be a little bit on the Viper side of things. And if you know Randy Orton, you know what I mean. But after he gets healed up from his knee and back, as Triple H pointed that was bugging him after the match, he's sure that we will see Randy Orton versus Gunther once again to eradicate that asterisk. And speaking of eradicate, Dominic Mysterio was trying to eradicate the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour as he tried to help Becky Lynch, of all people, defeat Liv, prevent Liv Morgan from winning the Women's World Championship, but he did not succeed, because Becky Lynch was confused. Liv Morgan took advantage, became the new Women's World Champion by defeating Becky Lynch, only to stir up that doubt of, is Dom and Liv really working together? What is going on between those two? Even though Dom flat out said later in an interview when he crashed Liv Morgan's championship interview, saying he was there to prevent her from winning the title, clearly failed. So you must wonder what the Eradicator herself, Rhea Ripley, better known to Dom as Mommy, has to think about that. Chris Best coming in saying, to put into context, the last Islander to hold a crown was Haku, and that was well over 30 years ago. And this is true. King Haku. Which is also the father of Tama Tonga, which a lot of people had rumors of, hey, imagine if Tama Tonga was to win the King of the Ring and be a king just like his father. But that was not in the cards, as we saw. Also, a King and Queen of the Ring, we saw an amazing triple threat match as Sami Zayn defended his Intercontinental Championship against Big Bronson Reed. And we also saw Chad Gable. As Chad Gable and Otis are just putting more sprinkles on the ice cream that looks so good in the sense of their potential feud. Because we saw once again a tease of Chad Gable wanting Otis to hit Sami Zayn, seeing that reluctant face coming out of Otis, to where Chad Gable throws Sami Zayn down. He gets in the face of Otis. He starts pointing that finger. Yeah, now tattooing it on his chest. He gives him a little slap, only to infuriate Otis, picks Sami Zayn back up and says, hit him. And then Otis, to Chris Best's point, charges at him with aggression and gives him an insane clothesline. But instead of hitting Sami Zayn, who is the underdog from the underground, ducks. And he hits the American Alpha One himself, Chad Gable. And that only is the reason why Chad Gable does not stand today, your Intercontinental Champion. As I think everyone's surprised, Sami Zayn defeated Big Bronson Reed to retain that championship. I don't think a lot of people actually doubted that Sami Zayn was going to walk out as champion, but I don't think a lot of people thought it was going to be against Big Bronson Reed. I mean, I thought he was going to pin Gable based on Otis making his choice of saying, I'm not following you, Gable. So basically the same thing, but just, doing it for a different reason. The Worst Sports Channel is coming in saying, so glad Sami won. His 2024 has been insane. One in Montreal, I was there, and Saudi, both basically home crowds for him. And I couldn't agree more. Sami Zayn, I think, it's so funny to me because you go all the way back to last year when Elimination Chamber, I believe, was in Montreal, where he had that title match versus Roman Reigns. And everybody, all of a sudden, the narrative is, oh my God, what if he's the one to defeat Roman Reigns in Montreal? Sorry for Jack. Montreal. That's my best impression. I'm Western Canadian, so we butcher things. I mean, come on. I think we all know as Canadians, when we try to imitate other Canadians, we just butcher it. So just like the real East butchers the English language, right? Am I right? Am I right? But we thought Sami Zayn was going to win, or could win the title. All the narratives were created, and then he doesn't, and it's such a weird loss. Like, we're talking about Sami Zayn, like I'm wearing a Royal Rumble from 2023. Sure, I was there in San Antonio seeing him smack the chair across Roman Reigns' back, signaling, I'm done with you. I made my choice. This is And we have just a little bit of difficulty there, but we're back. We're back with Sami Zayn. We're back with Sami Zayn, people. And we're talking about how we thought it was going to be him. And then you fast forward a year later, and people were not even on the same side about him beating Gunther at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. But he does. He did it in a great story, a great thing. And then now, as World Sports Channel is saying, has this great moment in Saudi Arabia, who really now you have a face for your Saudi Arabia crowds, right? You didn't need somebody like a Mansoor or Jinder Mahal, because he had Sami Zayn there the entire time. And then now that he's there, let's just gloss over the fact that Sami Zayn is now doing Saudi Arabia shows. One, how amazing is that just in itself, but also two, now that you have a face to go this. I think one day this is the play. Sami Zayn wins his first world championship in a Saudi Arabia show, not Montreal. That is my take. What do you guys think? Let me know. And then we also saw Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill retain their tag team championships in the pre-show against Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. We also saw Cody Rhodes defeat the man and Prime. I dare you, come at me here. The man that just created this, Prime. You know, he had his viral moment. He takes a big swig of Prime after he sets Cody Rhodes up on the announce table and jumps off it. I think what we can all agree is a beautiful camera angle. Jumps off, big splash, beautiful splash onto Cody Rhodes. And we just couldn't get it done. You know, just couldn't get it done. Cody Rhodes reminded him who he was. He was Cody Rhodes, bitch. 3 crossroads later, Logan Paul is laying down on a canvas that did not have the Prime Bottle logo, by the way. We were led to believe that all PLE's moving forward after WrestleMania 40, we're going to see the Prime logo. Did not happen. Did not happen. So, what say you, WWE? Why did you mislead us? This isn't the Vince McMahon era, man. We believe in Paul Levesque. Little things matter. This is a little thing to us, damn it. We want to know why. Where's our bottle on the canvas, man? You told us it was going to happen. But I digress. Because nonetheless, King and Queen of the Ring delivered. It was a great PLE, great show, great pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it amazing because top to bottom, great show, great action. All the women brought it, all the men brought it, and guess what? Saudi Arabia crowd brought it too. Did you not see them standing up right before the Gunther Randy Orton match in excitement? Did you not see the bite when Gunther reversed the RKO? They were there, they were hooked, they were lined, and they were the singer. So it was overall great show. Now AEW has a show tonight. Double or Nothing, trying to top it with the rumor that MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, could show up live in Las Vegas. If you needed a reason to check out that show, and you happen to be a fan of MJF, well, you know what? You might just take that as a potential. I'm going to go check it out. But yeah. But I also want to talk about, the Clash of the Castle PLE, though. We got word on our championship match. Was curious to why Damian Priest did not have a championship match or any appearance slated for Saudi Arabia. But I'm very happy that the first match announced for Clash of the Castle is for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. What do you guys think? Are you guys excited to see Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the championship? And do you think Drew McIntyre walks out as champion? I believe he does. And I believe he does because I think Finn Balor is going to cost Damian Priest the championship. I think we're going to officially see Damian Priest get kicked out of the Judgment Day at Clash of the Castle. That is my bold prediction. Come at me with your thoughts, people. I am ready here, locked and loaded with episode 25 of the Chris Perish podcast. Because that's not all I still have my fix to the WWE Draft coming up. And let me tell you something. I think it's pretty good. I think I check all the boxes here. Do you guys want it? Do you want it right now? Are you ready? I said, okay, let's do this because I don't want to go into copyright infringement here. We got the WWE Draft picks here, people. And here's my first thing on what I do. I wouldn't do it on a Raw and SmackDown. No, don't do it. Don't do it on an actual televised show. You do it on a weekend where you don't have a PLE. You make your own special out of this. You don't see the NFL draft happen on Monday Night Football or on a Sunday night game or a Thursday night game, do you? No. You don't see it at all during games. You don't see the NHL draft just happening in between the periods of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. You don't see the NBA draft, probably because you don't watch it, but you just don't see it during any of their games. No, you don't. So why, WWE, do you have a draft during your shows? A little bit on the cuckoo side of things, don't you agree? So you make your own show, and guess what? It'll feel different. It'll feel a little bit bigger, right? All of a sudden now you're putting in all these different little cadences to making sure that this is a special event. And the first thing I do, 15 rounds only. That's right. Raw and SmackDown, you get 15 picks. That's it. And you're saying, Perish, are you delusional? There's no way you can build a brand on only 15 picks. Don't worry. I thought of that. I say 15 picks because just like the NFL draft, you have 7 rounds. And after those 7 rounds, you know what you have? You have a boatload of talent that became undrafted. And these teams now have a chance to sign undrafted rookies. So I'm creating the undrafted superstars. That's right. Anybody who got drafted becomes a member of Raw or SmackDown, but everyone who didn't now become undrafted, and they could go and sign with any show of their choosing. But here's the caveat. You do not announce who signs to what show until the Monday Night Raw or the Friday Night SmackDown, and you create that mystique, that intrigue of now I'm watching the show and I don't know what to expect. Because just say Jimmy Uso, like this year, did not get drafted. And you have zero idea of where he could go. Now, the intrigue of where he's going to go, you just hear Jimmy Uso has signed. That's all you have to do. Vague as humanly possible. But to where? To who? Is it to Raw? Is it to SmackDown? We don't know. All of a sudden, he just shows up in a very huge way on Raw into SmackDown. All of a sudden, he is now made. It's now cool. We now have moments again on TV that are different. Take you back to when the original one happened. And you got those surprise returns to a brand. You got those surprise debuts on a brand. They're interesting. Chris Best coming in saying, my streak of not missing PLE since 96 will come to an end. Clash of the Castle, because that's the same day I'll be doing commentary for CWE. But also, Chris Best, take note that it'll be live earlier in the day because of the time change. So you might still be able to watch it. Unless you plan on being at CWE fairly early. But you can still watch it from your phone. Come on. Dual tasking, man. That's what we got to do. So that's right. 15 rounds, 15 selections, a big undrafted pool. Now you're asking me, okay, what do I have with the NXT? Okay, cool. You have 5 to 10. 5 to 10 people from NXT that are eligible for the draft. If they're drafted, that's fine. They now become a member of the Raw and SmackDown roster. If they aren't, they go back to NXT. They were draft eligible. They become part of the brand of draft. If not, all right, there you go. You're not becoming an undrafted thing because your rights were held by NXT. You just put in eligibility. Better luck next year, as a coach in Happy Gilmore would say. So yeah, that's kind of how I would start that thing. Now, for trades go, because let's face it, each brand has champions, right? It's going to look weird if one brand has 2 mid-card titles, like the Intercontinental and United States. The other one would look weird if it had both sets of tag titles. We haven't seen that before, right? It would look weird if there's 2 women's champions on a show. So here is how I'd fix it. If by chance you are trading your U.S. champion over to Monday Night Raw, the rule states you'd have to bring over the IC champion in some way, shape, or form. Now, if that trade is designed to be maybe off balance for one brand, like maybe you value Sami Zayn more than you value Logan Paul, okay, you can add somebody, make it work. But the rule would state you'd have to bring back a championship of equal set on value. I don't think we're speaking out of term where we as fans say that the U.S. title is not viewed as a secondary title to Cody Rhodes' Universal Heavyweight Championship, just like the Intercontinental Championship is viewed as a secondary title to the World Heavyweight title. I think we're in safe and agreement that as the men's titles goes, we have those rankings. Now, I know a lot of people would say, well, when Gunther had it, we thought that was a world title. Okay, but at the same time, did it ever main event over the World Heavyweight Championship on multiple occasions? Or was that really Seth Rollins? So, as much as I know us hardcore fans love that Intercontinental Championship and think the most of it, it was, always will be a secondary title to a world title. Well, world heavyweight title, I should say. I should clarify. So yeah, if you want to bring over say you want Bailey over at a show, yeah, Liv Morgan, in some way, that trade has to go over balancing the championships on the brand. And I think that is just fair. Now, the caveat is there's a women's champion, right? Women's tag champions, sorry. Right now, they're Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Now, here's the thing. They don't get drafted. They are champions, right? Champions are protected. That's the next one. And the championships, protection for the women's championships are easy. They go wherever they want to go. That is the beauty of the women's tag team championships. Therefore, they can't be drafted. So you're saying, well, what happens if Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair lose the tag titles to a team that's drafted on a brand? What happens to them? Well, simply put, they become part of the undrafted superstars list, and they are free to sign with any brand they want. So if they both want to sign on the same brand, they can do so. If they want to go their separate ways, they can follow their own journey. But that's what happens. There you go. And then when you ask me more about, okay, well, what happens with NXT? Can an undrafted person go to NXT? Yeah. That's why they're undrafted. Look at what guys like Baron Corbin did. You know, he wasn't drafted in last year's draft. Went to NXT. Raised his stock. Now he's a member of Friday Night SmackDown. Brought his stock back up. Right? I think it's safe to say that. I think Baron Corbin was lost in the shuffle at one point. Went to NXT, formed a great tag team with Braun Breaker, had some great feuds with Braun Breaker and other superstars, Ilya Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes. You know, and, you know, right back, he reinvented himself down in NXT, and now he's a different Baron Corbin than he was just a couple years ago. So, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you can do that with some people and it would work, you know. If by chance Triple H doesn't have room for you on a roster here, I'm pretty sure Shawn Michaels knows how to work with you. So I think everyone, you're okay. You're in good hands. And if not, I have two words for you. I just have two words for it. And I think that's I don't know what they are yet, but I'm sure I'd have to. Yeah. Again, like, I can't gimmick infringement people. But yeah, no, that's my draft fix right now. No, like, hey, that's my draft fix. Like, you know, I need it. It's how I would fix the WWE draft. There you go. You have some stability with your picks. They are brought to you on a show that's separate from the actual television shows. You now can, you know, get your moments by seeing who's going to appear, whether it's a new drafted superstar, whether it's a different one that you know didn't get signed. There's a little bit more chaos on your show. Who doesn't like a little bit of chaos on their television screen when they watch some pro wrestling? Am I right? Am I right? We've protected the champions. We make the titles matter in positions like a draft. You know, if you're a champion, you know, you get a little bit of extra perks, especially at the women's tag team championships. I think that's a big one. Yeah, and then there's something for them if they were to lose the title and they never got drafted. There you go. You got to fix there. Also, here's something that I love that I came up with. If you're on Raw and you, for whatever reason, want to go to SmackDown, you have to be invited by the general manager. Without an invite from that general manager and you were to appear on the show, you get a strike of being fined. We'll say $25,000. If you were to do it a second time, it's doubled to 50. If you're doing it a third time, it doubles again to $100K. $100,000. And this isn't baseball, so we're not doing the 3 strikes you're out thing. But here's the fourth one. There's no money. No, you're not fired. Within a year, if you were to break the rule of appearing on another show without an invitation on a fourth time, you, as a Raw or SmackDown superstar, will forfeit your entry to the upcoming Royal Rumble match, and you will forfeit a spot on the next WrestleMania card. Now we have secured a reason to stop these random appearances by people on other brands. But also, I've given you an out with a proper invitation by a general manager. So if you have a situation, whereas this has happened in the past, say SmackDown's going to a place and the snow is too much and there's travel, planes get canceled, they can't get people to the show, the general manager can invite other stars to the brand to still put on a show, and that's all fine. But if one member of another brand just shows up uninvited, penalty. There you go. So let me know what you guys think about my WWE Draft fix. I think it's solid. I actually think it's solid. I was quite proud of myself for that. So let me know what you think. What else do we have on the docket tonight? I think the one thing I want to talk about a little bit too is we now had a PLE. A flat out PLE in King and Queen of the Ring. And we didn't see the bloodline in any way. We didn't see Solo. We didn't see Tam. We didn't see Tongaloa. We didn't see the Wise Man. As it stands right now, that is the bloodline. We didn't see them. When was the last time we had a PLE where we didn't see any bloodlining involvement? It's been a while, people. And I think I have a couple ways of looking at that. I think one, how refreshing in a way, where we don't have to rely on the bloodline to make a good PLE. That's always a good thing. It shows depth on your roster. It shows how many people care about other acts on your show other than just one. But also, I don't think I missed the bloodline not being a part either. And I think, what does that mean about how I'm viewing the bloodline as of today? Because when Roman Reigns was around and you were to have a PLE and he wasn't on, you would have seen a hole. And you would have wanted Roman Reigns to defend the title in some fashion, or at least make an appearance. I don't think we share that same feeling with Solo Sikoa. I don't think he is tribal chief level when comparing to Roman Reigns. However, I think Solo Sikoa is doing a fantastic job in his position. I think we're seeing a great evolution of the Solo Sikoa character, and I think it's just going to take a little bit of time. Do I really think the bloodline is evolving? No. I just think it's adapting and evolving in a different way. I think, too, when you looked at Triple H's version of DX after WrestleMania 14, it took a little bit of time for you to think about it as the top act again when Shawn Michaels wasn't there. And I think that's going to just be the same thing here. Plus, it's a matter of when. When Roman Reigns comes back, you know he's going to do something with the bloodline that we know today, and it's going to be intriguing. So it's just going to elevate what we see now to that next level, just like The Rock helped the bloodline before kind of reach a new height. Whether you like him, you hate him, you're indifferent, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's involvement in the last bit with the bloodline helped take the bloodline to a different height. You have to admit that. And if not, then I guess from what I said earlier, you're living under that Dwayne Johnson, because that was some serious business they made in that first part of the year. Also, I think when it turns to the bloodline, I think now that Nia Jax becoming Queen of the Ring, I think Solo Sikoa's first line of business on SmackDown should be bringing her into the bloodline. Nia Jax not only defeated Lyra Valkyria to become the first ever Queen of the Ring, she defeated the tag team champions on her way there in individual action. Regardless of how she won, Nia Jax defeated Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. And that's a pretty impressive feat. That was quite a dominant run for Nia Jax. And I'm going to say this. I think she wins the championship at SummerSlam. And I think Solo Sikoa recognizes the dominance from someone within the family. And for the first time ever, we see a female brought into the bloodline. And I think Nia Jax fits that mold, like I thought at the Royal Rumble in San Antonio. I thought the same thing there. So, yeah. What do you guys think? Nia Jax in the bloodline? Bloodline 2.0, I think will hold some weight. I think it is. Not to mention she now has a title, Queen of the Ring. Can't take that away from her. So it's going to be very intriguing. Also, what do we see tomorrow night on Raw with Gunther? Because we know we probably won't see Randy Orton on Raw, as he is SmackDown. Do we see him and Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre in some fashion? Or do we see him and Ilya, as that's been teased? Do we see him and Jay again? What do you do with Gunther tomorrow night? Do you have a coronation? I know, Chris Best, you're in the chat. You have mentioned that to me off screen before. But we saw a coronation with Gunther once before when he broke the Honky Tonk Man streak for the IC title. Would that be too soon from his last one? Because it's just a few months ago. Just a little while ago. So I don't know. I mean, it was more than a few. But still fresh in my head. Like, I still freshly remember that coronation. But yeah. very intrigued on what to expect tomorrow. Make sure you're checking out the Raw Patrol featuring Chris Best himself, myself, Carl Carafel, OMD, and Bubba Duke. The Raw Patrol tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, for the Raw Patrol's surveilling the WWE scene. As we we go through Monday Night Raw, and if you see me a little bit distracted, well, I only am going to be also watching the Edmonton Oilers as well. Chris Best coming in saying, I kind of want to see an old school coordination where all the heels on Raw are in the ring. I mean, in a weird way, well, not in a weird way, he did represent Raw in the King of the Ring match. However, the one thing I want to see is maybe him have a promo or something to where he has the microphone and the fans are so creative that they just do one of these during the whole time. So you're just seeing the shoulders up to where Gunther himself, I want to see Gunther actually talk about it. I think if he acknowledges the shoulder being up, I think, okay, we're on to something. Chris Best will be watching the game too. I mean, Canadians will be watching hockey. It's just what we do. But yeah, very intrigued about what's in store for tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. Now that Drew McIntyre has been cleared, that is why the match at Clash of the Castle has been announced. Drew McIntyre himself has been cleared for. Do we see Drew McIntyre winning? Because another thing that popped in my head, maybe we see CM Punk costing him that championship once again, setting up that match at SummerSlam. I could see that as well. Therefore, we now have Gunther versus Damian Priest. But you know what? I think I actually do like that because Gunther, as of right now, stands to have a championship match at SummerSlam. And I keep that, but I do not want to see him and McIntyre for the title. Him and Priest would be logical. That way you can have Punk versus McIntyre at SummerSlam. My question is, maybe you wait till SummerSlam for Finn to turn on Damian Priest and kick him out. That could be a better option. SummerSlam is the bigger show. So, yeah, maybe you do that. But yeah. Also, I just want to let everybody know that if you're in the Edmonton area and you want to check out local pro wrestling, come check out Real Canadian Wrestling next Saturday, or this upcoming Saturday, as I will be in the ring competing for the first time since December of 2022. So in my in-ring return to the Edmonton scene. Come check it out. I do not know yet what the match will be, but if I had my choice, I'll be alongside my little bro, Son of Irish, and we will be running wild in tag team action. That's what I. If not, then I'll just be. I don't know. Maybe I'll just beat somebody up anyway. We'll see what happens. But yeah, if you're in the Edmonton area, check out that. If you're in the area of the Sioux, make sure you're checking out the Canadian Wrestling Elite too. As Chris Best, Carl Kerfbell are the announcers, the commentators to the shows there. Go say hi. Go check it out. If you're by chance going on the Redbubble and getting some of that Turnbuckle Studio merch, do that. Support it. And support those announcers there. But also support the wrestlers. That's always a good thing. Yeah. So kind of talked a little bit about the wrestling here. Talked about a little bit AEW, a little bit. I don't talk much. I'm not huge. I'm not going to be watching Double or Nothing. The show's too long for me, man. But it'd be a big moment if MJF did return. Now, selfishly, I'd like him in WWE, but at the same time, it's good for wrestling if that's not right now. It's so much better for wrestling if MJF does return. One, it gives AEW a star, a legit star. Not to mention, if there's one thing just from a wrestling fan that I hate, it's unfinished stories. And him and Adam Cole just have an unfinished story. And that needs to be finished. You know, Cody gets to finish his story. Let MJF finish his. Yeah, and I think we can just get away from the semantics about, oh, did he sign now? Did he sign back then? Who cares? If you're a fan of AEW, fan of MJF, then you should just be happy that he signed in the first place. Just like if you're a fan of Becky Lynch, you're a fan of WWE, who cares if she hasn't signed a new contract today? Just hope that she does sign one. Personally, I do believe she'll sign one. Just seemed like she was set to take a break, and then Ripley got hurt. They asked her to come back, and I think her losing the championship at King and Queen of the Ring last night isn't a contract issue, as it is more of a, I have a feeling Rhea Ripley is closer to coming back issue than what we think. She might not be ready to be in the ring, but she might be just ready to return. Because I do think if there's a coordination that I like to see destroyed on Raw tomorrow, I'd like to see Liv Morgan's Revenge Tour celebration. Mommy comes back, and guess what? The pop she will have will replace every soda machine at a convenience store or at a local McDonald's. They're going to go absolutely crazy for the Eradicator. It's going to become Mommy Mania when she comes back. And oh my God, is Dominic going to be in store for a different encounter? Because I am very intrigued with what they're doing between Dom and Rhea, Dom and Liv. And then you have Damian asking them, are you and Rhea good? Just great little tidbits of storytelling. And as Chris Best is saying in the chat, I kind of think Becky takes her break now. And I think that's exactly what it is. Sorry. Remember, she has a book still out. She's still touring with her book. So she has a lot of media dates. She is still doing that as we speak, despite doing all of her days in the ring. She's busy. She has a family. She has a daughter. She has a husband who's on the shelf right now. Family time's important. Family time is important. And that's why I don't expect her to sign with anybody else. Stay where your situation's controlled, and it's a situation that you love. Because when your husband's back, you get to ride in a nice little tour bus with both your husband and your kid. Why give me a logical reason, people, to why it makes sense for her to leave that. And don't tell me money, because I don't think she is somebody who is going to just up that situation for money. I'm pretty sure she's got money. I'm pretty sure she's going to get money, regardless of what company she signs. But if one situation involves her being away from that situation, give me a logical reason to why she leaves. I just don't see it. Trust me, people. As a father, if you don't have to leave your child for any periods of time, you don't. Money isn't everything. And so, but with that being said, I'll take a little bit drink of my non-sponsored. Can't say the name because my sponsor might get mad. I'll just say it's my non-sponsored, but make sure you're going and checking out Rogue Energy. That's right. I'm just not a shill for them. I actually do have the product. You're using that promo code PERISH, PERISH. Use it at the checkout. Save yourself 10%. Help me become bigger, and that might actually change to 20%. Yeah, that's here. There you go, people. If you have a gripe with how little that discount count might be, if you're one of those people that think 10% is not enough, it can be 20. You just have to help support the show. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're on YouTube watching the Chris Perish podcast, I first say thank you. I appreciate you. But make sure that you're hitting that notification bell. You're subscribing. You're alerting yourself every time that we're on. You give us a thumbs up. Algorithm, people. That's one thing that that's a hard one to get here when you're doing the streaming. It's that algorithm. But you know what? When you hit that like, it goes a long way. It tells people that you're checking the show out. You're checking the show out and you like it. Now, I say, please just, if you don't like it, well, I mean, sorry. Don't watch. But if you like it, give the thumbs up. Because just in life, YouTube is the same way. You have the ability to go thumbs up or thumbs down. Why waste your time on a thumbs down? Go find something to give it a thumbs up to. If you're on the Twitch side, please follow and subscribe on there. If you're on the Facebook, please like and share all of the Chris Perish podcasts that are on there. If you also want to check out this show and maybe you didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, or maybe you watch the show and you're just one of those people that, you know what, I need more. Yeah, well, past shows. You said this is episode 25. Where can I find the first 24? Well, you can go to Spotify. Because after every episode, every live episode ends, you can see that episode in its entirety go right onto Spotify within the hour. That's right. After every episode, I make sure I upload this show that you're watching right now onto Spotify within the hour after the live stream. Why? Because I want to give you the content now. I don't want to wait. I want to give it to you guys now. Check it out on Spotify. Please rate the podcast. Please comment on the podcast. Please be active in what you think. If there's a polls, please partake. Please partake. We here at the Chris Perish podcast, we like participation. Let that one marinate for a second. Also, you got to say that slowly because, well, let's just say it doesn't exactly sound appropriate if you don't say it properly. But yeah. First off, I just always want to say thank you to the people who are stopping by in the chat, being active. So the Chris Best Worst Sports channel. Make sure you go and check out the Worst Sports channel live on YouTube as they are commenting right now there. Go check them out. Subscribe there, like, follow, and also at 10 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, you can come and check myself out as I will be a host on the Worst Sports channel there. And then next week, episode 26, Jack Lucerne of the Worst Sports channel will be the guest to the Chris Perish podcast. Looking forward to that. Make sure you're coming in. Make sure you're sending questions. And if you want to know where you can message me on all my socials, my Twitch, my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, my TikTok. Hell, you can even leave a comment on Spotify or on any one of these platforms. Get your questions in. If you want to know a little bit more, this is your time to do that. And I want to let you guys in on the Worst Sports channel, Jack Lucerne, because I'd like you to get to know him. I'm going to get to know him. So it's going to be a lot of fun. For that, I say thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Please be safe, be kind, be happy. But here we say, go Saints.